Imagine this. It's lunchtime, and you're rummaging through the fridge. You see a variety of containers, some with last night's dinner, others with meals from a few days ago. You hesitate, wondering if any of it is still good to eat. The thought of reheating those leftovers doesn't exactly excite you. You might even feel a bit guilty for letting food sit for so long. But before you close the fridge door and reach for the takeaway menu, let's take a moment to think about the bigger picture. Yesterday's dinner is looking a bit sad. The once vibrant colors have dulled, and the texture isn't as appealing. It's easy to see why you might want to toss it out. But did you know that food waste is a significant issue? In fact, nearly 1/3 of all food produced globally is wasted. That's not just a waste of food, but also a waste of the resources used to produce it, like water, energy, and labor. Do you toss it and grab a takeaway? It's a tempting option, especially when you're hungry and looking for something quick and easy. But before you do, consider this. By throwing away those leftovers, you're contributing to a larger problem. Food waste in landfills produces methane, a potent greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. So, what can we do to make a difference? Hold on. Before you do, let's talk about food waste and how we can easily avoid it. There are simple steps we can take to reduce the amount of food we waste. For example, planning meals ahead of time can help ensure that we only buy what we need. Storing food properly can extend its shelf life, and getting creative with leftovers can turn them into delicious new meals. By making these small changes, we can have a big impact on reducing food waste. It's simpler than you think to make a big difference. Imagine turning those sad leftovers into a tasty new dish. With a little creativity, you can transform yesterday's dinner into today's lunch. Maybe add some fresh ingredients or try a new recipe. Not only will you reduce waste, but you'll also save money and enjoy a variety of meals. Plus, cooking at home can be a fun and rewarding experience. We've all been there.
money by reducing food waste, but you'll also save on those last-minute takeout orders. Happy freezing! So there you have it, you lot. 3 simple ways to turn those leftovers into lunchtime legends. No more excuses, get in that kitchen and get creative. Comment below, what's the weirdest food combo you would try? Let's see what culinary abominations you can come up with. And remember, waste not, want not. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a fridge full of possibilities to explore. Gap 2S. Now let's dive into the world of sandwiches. The humble sarnie needn't be boring, especially when you've got a fridge full of leftovers. Here are some creative sandwich ideas that will make your taste buds dance. Gap 2S. First up, the Sunday roast special. Take leftover roast meat, a dollop of gravy, some crispy roast potatoes, and a handful of greens. Pile it all between 2 slices of crusty bread, and you've got a feast fit for a king. Gap 2S. Next, the Veggie Delight. Got some roasted veggies from last night? Perfect. Layer them with hummus, a sprinkle of feta cheese, and a dash of balsamic glaze. Pop it all into a wrap or a baguette, and voila, a veggie masterpiece. Gap 2S. Fancy something a bit different? Try the Asian fusion wrap. Use leftover stir-fry, a splash of soy sauce, and a bit of sriracha for a kick. Wrap it all up in a tortilla, and you've got a flavor explosion ready to go. Gap 2S. And for the sweet tooth, the breakfast bonanza. Spread some peanut butter on toast, add leftover banana slices, a drizzle of honey, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. It's breakfast, but not as you know it. Gap 2S. There you have it, folks. 4 sensational sandwich ideas that make use of those leftovers in the most delicious ways possible. Remember, the only limit is your imagination, so get experimenting and share your creations in the comments below. Happy sandwich making! Gap 2S. Now let's give a new lease of life to that leftover pasta sitting in your fridge. With a bit of creativity, you can transform it into a whole new dish that's just as delightful as the original. Here are some fantastic pasta makeover ideas. Gap 2S. First up, the pasta frittata. Whisk some eggs, mix in your leftover pasta, add a handful of grated cheese and a sprinkle of herbs. Pour it into a hot oiled pan and cook until golden brown. Slice it up and you've got a hearty breakfast or lunch that's packed with flavor. Gap 2S. Next, the pasta bake extravaganza. Layer your leftover pasta in a baking dish. Top with a rich tomato sauce, a generous helping of cheese, and bake until bubbly and golden. It's comfort food at its finest, and nobody will guess it's made from leftovers. Gap 2S. Fancy something a bit lighter? Try the pasta salad supreme. Toss your cold pasta with a mix of fresh veggies, some olives, a handful of feta cheese, and a drizzle of your favorite dressing. It's a refreshing and satisfying meal that's perfect for a quick lunch or a picnic. Gap 2S. And for a touch of indulgence, the creamy pasta reheat. Heat your pasta in a pan with a splash of cream, a knob of butter, and a sprinkle of parmesan. Stir until it's creamy and delicious, and serve with a side of garlic bread for a meal that's pure comfort. Gap 2S. There you have it, folks. 4 inventive ways to give your leftover pasta a makeover. Remember, the key is to be creative and have fun in the kitchen. Share your pasta creations in the comments below, and happy cooking. Gap 2S. Now let's talk about those leftover vegetables. Rather than letting them go to waste, why not transform them into a delicious stir-fry? It's quick, easy, and incredibly versatile. Here's how you can do it. Gap 2S. Start by heating a splash of oil in a large pan or wok over medium-high heat. Add some chopped garlic and ginger to the pan and saute until fragrant. This will be the flavor base for your stir-fry. Gap 2S. Next, toss in your leftover vegetables. Whether it's carrots, bell peppers, broccoli, or even some green beans, they all work beautifully in a stir-fry. Cook them for a few minutes until they start to soften. Gap 2S. Now it's time to add some protein. Leftover chicken, beef, tofu, or even a handful of nuts can really elevate your stir-fry. Stir everything together and let it cook until the vegetables are tender yet still crisp. Gap 2S. For the sauce, mix together some soy sauce, a bit of honey or brown sugar, a splash of rice vinegar, and a touch of chili flakes for heat. Pour this over your stir-fry and toss everything until well coated and heated through. Gap 2S. Finally, serve your stir-fry over a bed of steamed rice or noodles and sprinkle with some sesame seeds and chopped spring onions for a bit of extra crunch and flavor. Gap 2S. There you have it. A vibrant, tasty stir-fry made entirely from leftovers. It's a fantastic way to reduce waste and enjoy a nutritious meal. Don't forget to share your favorite stir-fry combinations in the comments below. Happy cooking! Gap 2S. Now that we've mastered the art of stir-fry, let's turn our attention to another common leftover, rice. Don't let that leftover rice sit in the fridge and go to waste. With a few simple ingredients, you can transform it from bland to grand. Gap 2S. Begin by heating a tablespoon of oil in a large pan over medium heat. You can use vegetable oil, sesame oil, or even a bit of butter for extra richness. Gap 2S. Once the oil is hot, add some finely chopped onions and garlic. Sauté until they turn golden and aromatic. This will add a lovely depth of flavor to your rice. Gap 2S. Now toss in your leftover rice. Break up any clumps with a spatula and spread it evenly in the pan. Let it cook undisturbed for a couple of minutes to get a nice crispy texture on the bottom. Gap 2S. Next, add your choice of mix-ins. This could be anything from frozen peas, diced carrots and sweet corn to chopped leftover chicken or prawns. Stir everything together and cook until heated through. Gap 2S. For seasoning, you can keep it simple with just salt and pepper, or go all out with a splash of soy sauce, a dash of fish sauce, or even a sprinkle of curry powder. Adjust to your taste. Gap 2S. For a finishing touch, crack an egg into the pan and scramble it into the rice for added richness and protein. Garnish with chopped spring onions and perhaps a drizzle of sriracha for some heat. Gap 2S. And there you have it, a delightful, flavor-packed rice dish that's far from boring. It's a great way to make the most of your leftovers and enjoy a satisfying meal. Be sure to share your own leftover rice creations in the comments. Happy cooking! Gap 2S. Now that we've turned bland rice into a grand dish, let's sweeten things up by transforming your leftover desserts into delightful new treats. Gap 2S. Don't let that half-eaten cake or those few remaining cookies go to waste. Gap 2S. With a bit of creativity, you can give them a second life. Gap 2S. Let's start with leftover cake. Crumble it up into fine pieces and mix it with a bit of frosting or cream cheese. Roll the mixture into small balls and dip them in melted chocolate. Place them on a baking sheet and let them chill in the fridge until set. Voila, you've made delicious cake pops. Gap 2S. Next, let's tackle those leftover cookies. Crush them into crumbs and layer them in a glass with whipped cream or yogurt and your favorite fruits. This creates a quick and easy parfait that's perfect for a light dessert or even breakfast. Gap 2S. Have some leftover pie? Turn it into a pie milkshake. Simply blend a slice of pie with a scoop of ice cream and some milk until smooth. Pour it into a glass and top with whipped cream for an indulgent treat that's sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Gap 2S. And don't forget about leftover pastries or donuts. Slice them into bite-sized pieces and toast them lightly in the oven. Serve with a dipping sauce of melted chocolate or fruit compote for a fun and tasty snack. Gap 2S. These are just a few ideas to get you started. The possibilities are endless when it comes to repurposing leftover desserts. So next time you have some sweet treats lingering around, don't toss them out. Transform them into delightful. Happy creating!
Listen up, you tired of tossing out perfectly good food? Throwing away money? I'm bull scraps you carelessly chuck in the bin. It's time to get creative with scraps. We're diving headfirst into the scrap cooking challenge. I'm going to show you how to transform your kitchen waste into culinary gold. We're talking about turning those sad, neglected bits into dishes so delicious, you'll wonder why you ever threw them away in the first place. Get your aprons ready, sharpen your knives, and let's get cooking. Right, you Muppets! Gather round because today we're diving into something truly special. We're talking about carrot tops. Yes, those leafy greens you usually toss away without a second thought. Have you been throwing away your carrot tops? What a bloody waste. Those greens are not just edible. They're absolutely delicious and packed with nutrients. Those leafy greens are packed with flavor, more vibrant and fresh than the carrot itself. Imagine the burst of freshness they can add to your dishes. Don't even think about tossing them in the bin. Instead, let's turn them into something extraordinary. First, carrot tops a good wash. You want to make sure all the dirt and grit are thoroughly removed. We don't want any dirt or grit ending up in our pesto. A clean wash ensures a clean taste. Chop them roughly. We're not looking just a bit of a rough chop. This will make it easier to blend later. Now, gather your ingredients because we're about to make some magic. In a blender, we'll add our chopped carrot tops, which will be the pesto. A generous glug of olive oil. Don't be shy with it. This will smoothly and add richness. A handful of toasted pine nuts, which will give our pesto a lovely nutty flavor and a bit of texture. A couple of cloves of garlic. Use more if you like, depending on how garlicky you want it. Garlic adds a nice punch, and a good grating of Parmesan cheese. This will add a salty, umami depth to our pesto. Blitz it all up until it forms a rough paste. Taste it. Need seasoning, yeah? Go easy at first. You can always add more, but you can't take it out once it's in. You can always add more. Remember, it's easier to adjust the seasoning gradually. Too thick, or we'll loosen it up. Consistency to your liking. Too thin? More cheese, you donkey. Cheese will thicken it up and add more flavor. This pesto is amazing tossed with pasta, spread on crusty bread, or even as a dip for veggies, or even as a marinade for chicken. See? Stop wasting food. Use every part of your vegetables and enjoy the incredible flavors they have to offer. Listen up, you think I'm joking? Well, let me tell you, this is no joke. What if I told you that the humble onion skin, something you probably toss in the trash, could be transformed into a culinary treasure? Intrigued? Onion skin? You heard right. Useless, papery layer and discard are actually a goldmine of flavor and nutrients.
From the lush rainforest to the arid deserts, the natural world thrives on a delicate balance.
That you won't believe until
Resources
you try it.
are used,
Those papery
broken down,
layers you
and
usually chuck
recycled
away
in
are a
continuous
gold mine of
cycle of
flavor.
life.
Imagine
In
infusing
forests,
your soups,
fallen leaves
stews,
and dead
sauces
trees
with a rich,
decompose, enriching
complex
the
taste
soil.
that elevates your
Even the
cooking to a
mightiest
whole new
predator
level.
leaves behind
It's like
scraps,
discovering a secret
remnants of a
ingredient
meal
that's
very
been hiding
ground
in
they walk
plain
upon.
sight all along.
In deserts,
They'll give your stock
animal
a
remains
depth
quickly
won't
break
believe.
down,
The natural
providing
sugars in
nutrients
the
for
onion
hardy
skins
plants.
caramelize beautifully.
Even the best
Listen,
of us
eating a
have
block
scraps
that's
left
not
over.
only tired of
In
tossing
wetlands,
all
plant
visually
matter
stunning,
decays,
throwing
slowly
away money.
creating rich,
I'm talking
fertile
about liquid
soil.
vegetable scraps
That's
you all
where
carelessly
composting
chuck in
saves
the
the
bin
day.
going to throw
It's
away.
time to get creative
Don't
with
give
a
me that.
simple yet powerful
Scraps.
act.
I know it. We're
Mimicking
diving
nature's
headfirst into
grand
the
design.
scrap cooking challenge this one. The next time you're peeling how to transform your kids' save
Here,
those skin to
in the
culinary.
concrete
You'll thank me
jungle
later
of
when
our
you're talking
cities,
about turning incredible
space is
sad
often limited.
into dishes.
The
So
towering
you wonder why
buildings
you
of
ever
streets
threw
leave
them away. It's
little
going to be a
room for
game
nature
changer.
to
Get
thrive.
your aprons ready.
Yet,
Not only will you be
amidst
reducing
this
waste,
urban
but you'll
sprawl,
also be creating
a
something
quiet
truly
revolution
special.
is taking place.
So let's get right, you Muppets.
It's a movement
We're
that
gather
seeks to
around
bring a
people.
touch
Today
of
we're
green
diving
to
into
even
something
the
truly
smallest
special.
space.
We're talking about carrot bits
But even the
around
smallest
Yes,
balcony
those leafy
can
greens you
become a
usually
haven
toss
for
away without a
composting.
second thought. The more
Imagine
you throwing
transforming
away
your
your
tiny outdoor
seed.
space
What a bloody
into a productive,
those greens are
eco-friendly
not just
corner.
edible. They're
With just a few
absolutely
plants
delicious.
and a compact comp can start making a difference.
Those leafy greens
It's
are
not
packed
just
with
about
flavor,
reducing
more
weight.
vibrant and fresh.
It's about creating a sustainable
Imagine
lifestyle
any
for
burst to add
citizens.
to your dishes. Now, don't
Ingenious
even think about
designs,
tossing
no
where
larger
the
than
bin
allow
is.
us to
Let's turn them
compost
into
even in
something.
the
As
most
the skins start
confined
to heat up,
spaces.
those carrot
Compost
tops
bins are
go to the
perfect
wash.
for urban
Creating
dwellers.
a base
They
to
fit
make all the
neatly on
dirt that any
balconies,
store
patios, or even under the
we
kitchen
don't want
sink.
any dirt up in our
And
enough
they
to
are
cover the skin.
incredibly
Clean wash
efficient,
ensures
turning
clean taste.
food
You want to give
scraps
them
into
chocolate rough
valuable
all their. We're not
compost
looking just a bit of a
bits.
rough. The water will
These
slowly
miniature
to golden color
ecosystems
as it
teem
absorbs
with
the
life.
flavors from the
Creatures
skins.
work
Gather
tirelessly
your need
to
some
break down
aromatics
our
in
food
there too.
scraps.
In a
These will
blender, we'll add our
bacteria,
chopped carrots and
fungi,
add
and
even
other
more
multiple
to
crucial
Think of it
roles
as
in
generous
the
layers of
process.
olive oil.
They
Don't be
break
shy
down
with enhancing
organic
the This will
matter,
help everything
turning
blend. A cup full of
into
carrots and roughly
nutrient-rich
chopped, a
compost.
stick
A
of
handful
celery,
of
and don't
toasted
worry
pine
about
nuts,
destroying
one
the
that
lovely
highlights
going
the power of
The goal is
nature.
to extract
Those
use more
humble
flavor as
denizens of the earth.
and these aromatics
particularly
just
adept
that
at
garlic
this
and a
task.
few sprigs of parsley and a good
kitchen
grating
waste
of fresh
into rich,
herbs.
fertile
This will add a
compost.
salty umami that
Vermicomposting,
balances
as
out the
it's
rich.
called,
List it all
is
up
an
until it
efficient and
forms a rough.
effective way to
Parsley is
manage
perfect.
organic
Taste
waste.
it. Need seasoning,
worms
yeah?
that can
Experiment.
produce
Go thyme or
carbon,
rosemary.
which
You
are
can always
excellent
add for the
soil
love of God.
conditioning.
Don't forget a basil.
It's a
You can
natural,
always add
sustainable
humble
way to
leaf adds
recycle
it's
food
easier to
scraps.
adjust the
It's
seasoning
a
grabs all the
testament
flavors
to the
together. A
adaptability
splash
of
of
nature.
water addition, but it makes
Finding
the
even
bring it all
amidst
to
the
too
hustle
thin
and
and let it
bustle of
bubble
urban
away
life.
for at least an hour.
These
Will
small
thicken it up
compost
and add
cooking
more
are a symbol
flavor.
of
Allows
resilience
all the
and
flavors to amazing
sustainability.
tossed with pasta.
They
They
show
spread on
that even
crust
in the
rich,
most
complex,
unlikely
even as a
places,
dip for
nature can
delicious.
thrive.
Or even
You'll
as
know
a
it's a
marinated
reminder
chicken.
that we can all play a
Stop
part
lying
in
and
creating
stop
a greener, more
Select every part of your vegetables and enjoy the incredible
aroma
flavors
will
they
think
have
you don't have
making
the
everyone
room.
wonder what
There's likely
amazing
a
dish you're
composting
preparing.
solution.
Listen up, you think I'm joking?
Chuck
away the well, let me tell you, this is what you're left with. What if I told you that this humble onion skin is something you probably toss in the trash without a second thought?
It's about
Could be
making our most
transformed
amazing
into a
house.
culinary treasure.